I will briefly on sort of like the Affirm strategy. By
Yeah.
starting with a credit product and then trying to back into sort of adding, call it like banking features, savings, some sort of debit
Yeah.
kind of functionality, um, to me intuitively kind of makes more sense than the reverse, right? If you look at least in the US, the sort of neobanks that started as banking first and try to add credit, really, not really any of them have been particularly successful at adding that credit because of
Mhm.
the customers they attracted in step one. So it's like, if
Yep.
I had to do this, credit, and you've talked about this plenty of times, it's like credit is by far a
Mhm.
much more difficult business to build for a whole ton of reasons. So it's like starting
Oh
with
yeah.
credit and then, have that figured out, hopefully have your unit economics work, have your risk, fraud and risk under control, and then backing into these other, ancillary or adjacent products, feels more likely to be successful. Obviously, if you're a firm, you're still
Mhm.
competing with whoever this person already has as their day-to-day bank account, but you do have a
Yeah.
foothold into that person's wallet, into their P&L that you can try to use to attract them. So, I mean, as far as sort of, I guess that maybe is comparing apples and oranges to talk about Affirm versus Chime or whatever. Um, but
Mhm.
it does seem like a more plausible, you know, product land and expand strategy than the inverse.
Yeah, I agree. And from everything I've heard, the Affirm debit card is growing pretty quickly and has gotten some pretty good initial traction. I am truly fascinated about the addition of buy now, pay later functionality into a card product construct. And this is something that the traditional card issuers have been talking about as well. Like, apparently, a lot of the loan growth at American Express over the last quarter actually came from their sort of Planet buy now, pay later functionality that they've embedded into their cards. And so I do think there is a utility for combining those. And I totally agree. I mean, start with lending and work your way back into deposits. I mean, maybe like the SoFis of the world or the lending clubs of the world are a better point of comparison for where a firm is going in terms of the part of the market they're trying to attack. But yeah, I completely agree with that.